Well, welcome to the channel. My name is Johnny and you're watching Hillbilly Modeling, and we are getting ready to start the build of our Soviet SU-152 Late by Trumpeter, 1/35 scale. And this is a really great kit, I think. Anyway, the details are really nice, and we got some little extras there. We've got the photo etch and a metal gun barrel, and they also give us a wire rope for our tow cables. So we're going to begin building. So let's jump down to the bench and get started on this one. So we're going to start off with our bathtub style hull here, and there are sides. These are the exterior sides that we need to put on. I'm going to go ahead and take these parts off. Now we need to take and clean up our stuff. Well, you know, our parts. We're starting out with these left and right sides here, and as you can see, I am going to cut the sprue gates long on these. And I like to do that for all my parts. That way I can trim them real close with my sprue cutters without those sprue runners being in the way. It just makes it so much easier to be able to get our flush cut sprue cutters in real close to the part without actually nicking the part. And then that leaves us just very little that we're going to have to sand and take care of after we're done cleaning off all these sprue gates. So with that done, we can go ahead and do a little bit of sanding here, just to make sure that we get rid of whatever's left over from trimming those sprue gates off. And I do this same thing for every single part. I know you end up with a lot of little bits and pieces of plastic, but that's okay. As long as we don't accidentally cut into parts, especially small or irregular shaped parts, it's much easier to kind of leave those sprue gates long and then take care of them after the part is free. Now on the inside surface of our left and right hull sections here, there are quite a few ejector pin marks here. Now they're all recessed on this kit, but there is a little bit of flash right around the holes there. So we need to make sure that we clean all of that off, and also take and sand it a little bit to make sure that there's no little imperfections there that's going to hold that out from the bathtub style hull there, so we get a nice clean fit. Speaking of fit, let's just go ahead and do these quick test fit here and see if everything's going to go together the way we expect it to. So each one of these sides have two locator pins in the centers of them, and then it's got that little ridge that runs around the sides that we're putting onto the hull there. And we may have to use some clamps or something to kind of draw that in for us. Also, we need to check the bottom of our bathtub style hull here. There's a couple of little pins that stick up on the bottom of it here from the injection mold process, and we need to clean those off. So with that taken care of, it's time to take a look at our instructions. So we have the three major pieces. We have the two sides and the bathtub style hull that we're going to be putting these parts on. And as you can see, before you even get started with step one, there are some modifications that we need to make. There are the little areas where we have to drill some holes. And then there's also some areas that we need to trim out on both sides as well as on the hull itself. And if you look at the hull, you can see where it has a slightly reduced thickness there. So we need to cut that out. And then you can also see the line on the inside section there of each one of the sides. And we need to eliminate that too, because this is not a regular tank hull. This is going to have a superstructure on it. Now these areas are not going to be seen on the vehicle because we do have that superstructure that goes on over top of it. So we can just use our sprue cutters here and kind of nip that away. And once we get it nipped away, we can just kind of sand that smooth there. on both sides of the hull. And we'll take care of the side pieces as well that we're going to be, gluing to that to the actual bathtub hull there. And we can sand those down as well. Now to attach these, I'm going to be using the Tamiya thick cement and also the extra thin to affix these to the actual model. The thick cement will go into these large spaces between all the little holes and stuff there on each one of the sides there. It's also kind of a gap filling, so we'll still have plenty of cement there that'll actually be holding it in place. And it's at this point that I go ahead and line up those alignment pins on them and go ahead and press it in so that everything has a good contact there. And to make sure that we don't have any gaps between the bathtub style hull and these sides that we're putting on, it's a good idea to go ahead and clamp these into place. So I'm going to use these plastic spring clamps here to get it all clamped up. And then I'll come back in with some Tamiya extra thin and kind of seal those seams right around the edges of it. I know somebody's going to say this is overkill, but I'm going to do everything I can here to try to close up any gaps that we have. So there is going to be a small gap on this particular side, and it's just because of the way the parts are made. There's not a whole lot you can do about it unless you want to do a lot of flush sanding on the bathtub hull there to kind of thin that out so that that gap will disappear. I decided, nah, it's on the bottom, we can probably live with it. So I'm going to have to hold it until it tacks up a little bit. But a better thing to do is to use these sliding bar clamps here and try to eliminate as much of that gap as we possibly can. Now, we're not going to get rid of all of it, but we can reduce it substantially here and have a lot less to fill later on. Boy, that's a lot of clamps. But I'm doing the best I can to make sure that it's nice and straight and we don't have any gaps there. Or at least we're eliminating those gaps as much as possible there. And after this side sets up for us, we'll go ahead and glue the opposite side on using the same method. Now, Trumpeter wants us to drill a couple of holes in the front of the vehicle there. So let's take a look at that. And as you can see here on the inside, all they have is these two divots. It's not a real hole location. And I doubt that I will be able to drill two accurate holes with a location like that. And as we can see here, this plate that goes on where those two holes are have two small locator pins on the back side. So I'm just going to size me up a drill bit that will fit that pin. And then we're going to go ahead and drill just one of the holes. Since this little plate that goes onto the front of the vehicle is supposed to be pretty much level with the ground, or the square with the top edge there, it's not that big of a deal. So when we go to put this on, we will cut the the other offending pin off, and I'm just going to use a single hole to locate this. So back to our instructions. Also in step 1, we have the deflector that goes on the back of the vehicle there. Now they have included PE parts to make this deflector up, and then they also have the plastic piece in the kit. So I think we need to take a look at those parts and see what all that's gonna entail. So here is the plastic piece, which actually looks pretty good. I don't really see anything wrong with that. I mean, there's a couple of, or actually 4 ejector pin marks on the back, but you're not ever going to see that. And then here's our PE. So they want us to take and replace that plastic part with the deflector, as you can see right there, which we'll have to bend. And then there's a mounting strip that goes on above it there. And yeah, there's also these little brackets and stuff, as you can see right there. 4 little brackets that need to go on the bottom of it. And that's an awful lot of pieces. And if we look at it here, you can see that the actual thickness of the PE parts are not going to be that much thinner than the plastic piece that they want us to replace it with. So I don't really see if we're going to, I don't think we're going to gain anything here. So could have saved us a couple of bucks by not putting that PE in. I mean, the screen is nice and we'll probably use that. But I don't think I'm going to build up the PE part because I don't think it's going to look as good as the plastic part. So why replace it? So I think we're just going to go ahead and use the plastic part. So before we can actually glue that deflector on, we have a clear lens. I don't know why they made it clear, but they did. And we need to put that into place there and get it oriented correctly. And once we do, we can go ahead and cement that into place. And I am just going to use the kit part for the deflector here. I really don't see any sense in bending all that metal. And you know, oftentimes when I go to glue up some PE parts, I kind of get CA glue on everything. So I think the kit part is going to look just fine without the PE. So I'm going to use the kit part deflector here, and we'll just glue that into place. Not only that, but the PE is really hard to get lined up, and it needs to be lined up very, very well because on top of that top edge of the deflector is where that screen sets. So I think by using the plastic part, we can eliminate some errors that might creep into our build here. So next up, we do have some toe points, and these are very, very tight. So like on a lot of trumpeter kits, if you can, you don't really have to file this out. Just use the Tamiya extra thin in the slots where they go. And then that'll soften the plastic up enough to be able to push the part into place. So that's how I'm going to treat these toe and eyelets here that go onto the back armor plate of our hull here. And with that done, we can go ahead and attach this piece to the actual hull. And since this piece doesn't have any actual alignment tabs, it just fits into the little recesses there. I'm going to start at the very bottom of it there so that I don't accidentally leave a gap. And once that grabs hold for us, we can go ahead and just glue up the left and right sides. And we still have a little gap here. So I'm going to draw it in with the bar clamp. So that seems to be the going theme here with this hull. The sides really don't mate up very well, but the bottom seam looks good. Now, in my haste to start building, I kind of forgot to open up these holes here on the right-hand side. And yeah, there's 2 little holes to drill and 2 slots that I was supposed to open up. And I didn't do that. So let's take a look at our model here. And I don't know if you can see them or not. I'm going to try to catch the light just right. You can actually see where these holes and slots are in the model. Just from the molding process, it has kind of left little witness marks there. There's 2 little holes here. There is a box that goes on later that's supposed to be located here. So I'm just going to mark that for now. And then also we've got some slots that we needed to open up. There's a loader's door that goes right here just above that road wheel arm mounting there. And then a little bracket down below it. So I'm just going to mark those with a pencil as well because I can clearly see where they're supposed to be. So yeah. we got those located. So I think what I'm going to do for the door is we can locate that. We know where it's supposed to go. So yeah, it goes right there. Now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take my flush cut sprue cutters here, and I am just going to take that alignment tab off and kind of sand it down there and get it nice and flush. That way I'm not, so obviously I'm not going to cut a hole in the in the side of the actual vehicle. So yeah, we're just going to sand that off. And since we know where it goes, we'll just locate it, kind of square it up there. And yeah, we'll just put some, to me, extra thin on it there and just fix it into place. And when it comes to the teeny tiny little bracket, yeah, I'm just going to cut that off too. Or that little bitty rectangular nub that's on the back side of it there. Cut that off and trim it down nice and flush. And since we've already determined where it's going to go, we're just going to put it into place, kind of lined it up, try to line it up a little bit here. And of course, when I hit it with the extra thin, it's going to move. So that's okay. We'll just float it around until we get it exactly where we want it and press it down. And yeah, that'll be fine. So we didn't have to cut any holes here at all. But when it comes to the storage box, we actually need those holes. And that's okay because the plastic is really thin here. And we can just go ahead and start those holes with our hobby knife. And with those holes started, we can check and make sure that they're in the right place. Now, they're not quite big enough. We'll have to open them up some more, but the alignment is correct. So we'll just open those up. And then these holes will be ready for us when we get ready to install this little storage box that goes here. But now it doesn't go on until after we get the fenders in place. So we're going to leave it off for now. So that will complete step one, with the exception of our PE screen there. We're going to leave that out for now because of the little fit issues we've been having. I think it's best to get the top plates on first. Now I think we're ready for step two. We've got that plate to put on the front of the vehicle there. That's the one where we only drilled the one hole for. So we need to fix that. We've got our top plates to put on the glacis and the engine covers. And then, of course, the bump stops and our support roller mounts. Those need to go on too. Now I'm going to start with the plate that goes on the front of the vehicle. I don't know if it's a placard holder or whatever it is. But since we only drilled one hole, we only need one pin. So the one on the inside, I'm just going to take off. And we'll go ahead and locate this on the front of the vehicle. And I'm pretty sure if I'd have drilled both holes in there, there was no way that it would have ever lined up for me. So we're just going to use that single hole and that single pin and just square it up here on the front of the vehicle. And then we'll just touch it with some extra thin and cement it into place. So next, I think we're going to put on this front armor plate here. So it has two locator pins, and those two little slots go down towards the front there. And yeah, you got to kind of wedge it in there. Yeah, well, whoops. But you do have to you do have to wedge it in there. And as expected, there is a gap on that one side there. So the left side is really giving us some trouble there. But I'm just going to go ahead and cement it up into place. Maybe we can draw that in a little bit later on. So I'm just going to glue the front edge first. And once that takes hold, I'm going to apply a little bit of clamping force to it. Now, Russian vehicles didn't fit together very well to begin with, but I think Trumpeter went to the extreme here in trying to simulate that. So, yeah, So there's going to be a little gap there. We'll have to fill that later, but it's not that big of a deal. So we're going to go ahead and cement the sides of this. Now while the front is drying, we're going to go ahead and put the rear deck, the rear deck plate on. Now it's something about the radius here. It kind of doesn't want to stay in place. It wants to push itself back out a little bit. So yeah, I'm just going to glue up one side first. And once it tacks up for us a little bit, we'll go ahead and glue the other side too. And that's just right there on the radius of it. And once both of those radiuses there, those corners, have tacked up for us, we'll go ahead and glue those straight edges too. So I guess that was the transmission deck. Next is the engine deck. So we're going to get that into place without dropping it inside. It's not supposed to be there. You do want to pay attention to the seam right there between those two plates. And we will glue that seam up first. And we do want to make sure that those two plates are level with one another because there is no tab underneath it there to help with the alignment. And then we can just cement up the edges of it there. So now I think it's time to add a little extra detail to our SU-152 here. And that would be putting in some flame cut or torch cut edges on these armor plates here. As you guys, if you are fans of Russian armor during World War II, you know that a lot of the vehicles, they didn't have a lot of finishing touches, and I'm not sure that this is correct for this vehicle on these edges that I'm going to do this on. But I'm going to add it anyway because it gives the impression of thick steel there. So yeah, I'm just softening the edges up with a little bit of to me extra thin here and running my blade across it there. And you can turn your blade sideways and get a little bit deeper cuts and then just slice through a little bit there with the edge. Kind of give it that real rough, non-dressed look. And that's very authentic for Russian vehicles during this time period. However, for the KV hulls, I'm not so sure that I'm putting them in the right places, but that's okay. I'm sure there's somebody out there that's going to say, oh no, that looks good. Or it could be the other way around, which is, no, you shouldn't have done that. But either way, we're going to do it anyway. So on these plates here, on the front of the vehicle and towards the bow, we're going to do it there. And I'm also going to do it on the edge of the plates back behind the actual final drives too, on the rear of the vehicle. Once our extra thin has set off and is mostly dry, I'm just going to come along and clean up the sides of it there a little bit. From the factory, they would have hit that with a grinding wheel and called it good. So that's what we're going to do. We're just going to run our blade right along the edge there, kind of straighten it up a little bit, and call it good. Now with all that done, it's time to go ahead and cut out our screen here for the rear of the vehicle. And this is where the cooling air gets blown out the back, the hot air from cooling the engine. And it is a piece of PE, and so we're going to free that from the fret. And we haven't, we don't have to bend it or anything, so we don't have to anneal it there. And if you've seen the kit review, you know that this fret here happens to be the one that's bowed a little bit. So I'm kind of straightening it out as best I can. Yeah, so we can get it to get it cemented into place here. So I'm just going to straighten it up with my fingers there. And then we do need to check the fit to make sure that it's going to go right where we want it to. Now they wanted us to put this in before we put the very rear transmission armored deck cover on, but I felt since we had these fit issues and everything, it probably wouldn't be a good idea to do it then. As you can see, it just falls right into place, and it falls right back out. So now we got to do cement it up. And for that, we'll be using some medium CA glue here. And we just need to put it on the contact areas, especially on the ends, right where that screen is going to sit. And then just simply drop it into place, hopefully. So it does have to go up above the deflector there, and it sits on those little ledges there on either side. And hopefully we've got enough CA glue in there to hold it into place there. It's pretty well protected, so we don't need to worry too much about when we handle the vehicle having to, kind of accidentally popping it out or anything like that. And that's what it's supposed to look like. Looks nice. And it doesn't fall out. We're in good shape. Next up, we're going to install our bump stops, and they are very tight fitting into the slots. So I'm just using the Tamiya extra thin there to kind of soften the recess that it goes into, and then they'll just slide into place. We do have 6 of them per side, and we'll go ahead and install all of those. Next up is our return roller supports, and they have 2 pins to locate them, and they will only fit one way. So even though Trumpeter has put all of those little bolt holes all the way around, which is a neat detail if you are modeling a vehicle that has one of these removed for whatever reason. That detail has already been drilled out for you. But I'm not going to be doing that, so I'm going to be putting mine into place. And we do have 3 of these on each side, so a total of 6. Next up, we do have some little lifting eyelets here to go into our engine deck and our transmission deck there, or transmission cover, whichever way you want to address it. And they are very, very small, so you need to be very careful with these. And they do fit in just a little bitty round recess. And yeah, try not to lose them. Now, there are a total of 8 of them, 4 in each one of these plates. However, we do have another 8 on the A sprue, the WA sprue. So I don't know if those are used again somewhere else in the kit. So maybe we got extras, maybe we don't. Just remember that if you're going to use tweezers to put these on, don't squeeze those little bitty tiny parts too hard because they will shoot out of there and be gone in no time. So don't feed the carpet monster. Just be very careful with these little bitty parts. Next, we do have these intake screens to put on. And it's a shame that these aren't PE parts instead of the solid plastic ones, because we do have those nice louvers underneath. So none of that's going to be seen, unfortunately, since we don't have any see-through PE parts to go on there. So they just practically snap into place, and then we'll just cement them in. Next, we have some access covers here that go onto the rearmost top plate, and they do have a hinge detail there. Now, even though I'm not going to have it open, of course, because there's nothing in there to look at, but it will help us to line these covers up. So I'm going to go ahead and cement those into place on each one of the covers. And if we look down inside, you can actually see those little tabs in there to help us locate them. So by putting those hinges in place, it'll keep us from getting our little round access covers here crooked when we go to install them. And this is where I failed to take my own advice because I didn't check the width of these things to see if they'd fit between the tabs. So those little hinges that we just put on there, those extensions, they don't really fit. All right, so we'll go ahead and modify them a little bit. We're going to hit them with the sanding stick there on either side, kind of thin it out just a little bit so that they'll fit into place. And once that's done, we'll just go ahead and insert it and make sure that it fits, which it does. And it is clocked correctly, so everything's lining up the way it's supposed to. And then we'll just hit it with some, to me, extra thin here and let it wick around the edges there. And we'll go ahead and cement both these into place here. Moving back to the front of the vehicle here, we can put our towing attachments in place here. However, they don't have a slot or anything that they go into. What Trumpeter decided to do here, which is different than on the rear plate, is it just has a circle outline for these to fit in instead of a slot like they had on the rear of the vehicle. So why they mix it up like that, I don't know. But yeah, it's just a different way of doing it. And we just need to cement both these up. So a quick check of our instructions here. Let's see, we put our intake screens, the access covers. We haven't done the road wheel arms yet, but we did the front towing attachments. So yeah, and this is all still step 2. So when it comes to our road wheel arms, as you can see, it has a hex on it there that fits into a hex hole. So I'm going to put the front 2 on because the very front road wheel arm is a little higher than the second one back. And then we'll put the last one on. And you do have to press these into place because it is a really tight fit. And I'm just using my thumb here to make sure that we've got it into place there. And so we want to take a straight edge here and check and make sure that all the axles are lined up. And yeah, we're in good shape there. So with that, we'll go ahead and put the other 3 on the opposite side. The 2 in the front and the 1 in the back. We'll check the alignment. And then we'll go ahead and cement these into place. Now, I haven't put all the road wheel arms on yet. I just want to make sure that we've got a good straight reference on both the left and right side before we do that. So with those cemented up, we're going to let that set for a minute and let those tack up into place here. Now, after you put the cement on, it's always a good idea to go back and recheck to make sure that they're all still lined up. Now, once those have set up for us, we can go ahead and just kind of fill in the blanks. And we're just going to insert the 3 missing ones on each side. Check their alignment, make sure everything is still good to go. And we're going to cement them into place, just like we did the ones before them. And we'll go back and recheck that alignment, make sure everything is lined up. There's nothing worse than having a road wheel arm that's either too low, which leaves a bunch of them not touching the track, or one too high that kind of floats above the track. So with all of our road arms installed, next we do have these torsion bar caps that need to go into place here. Now, the way Trumpeter has designed these, it's basically a cone that drops down inside of a funnel, if you kind of get my meaning there. There is no alignment tab or anything here, so I guess kind of pick what the alignment is. It's kind of hard looking at the instructions to see which way they're clocked and how they're supposed to go. But I'm just going to go ahead and clock them all the exact same way. And we'll just drop each one of them in here by putting a little bit of cement in the hole first, and then just put the piece in, and then just clock it whichever way you want it to be facing. Okay, so we didn't get as far as I thought we was going to get in this video. We did have some issues putting our lower hole together, and I still have this. I guess it's the left side plate there. You can probably see we got a little gap there, and yeah, I mean, we can fix that. It's not that big of a deal, but it seems like it goes from this weld seam here on the bottom all the way up to the front corner there. So you know. It's a Russian vehicle. So yeah, we got our road wheel arms on and all of our bump stops and or travel stops, and the support roller mounts or support structure, whatever it is. We got those on. One little piece of PE. We did not use the PE for the deflector because I really didn't think it was going to look any better than the kit part. So I just didn't worry about doing that. And we also got our little flame torch cut surfaces there. So that should look pretty good when we get it painted up. Now I'm not worried about this very small gap there. We're going to use that perfect plastic putty and fix that stuff. So that'll be fine. And we may have more things to fix once we get our superstructure on. I don't know yet. But that's where we're at. I was hoping to get through the tracks in this video, but we still got a lot more to do before we get there. So that's going to have to do it for this video. All right, so special thanks to all my subscribers because of you guys that I keep making these videos, and I hope that you enjoyed this one. Although we didn't get that much done, but we've got a good foundation going now. Oh, and if you're new to the channel and I earned your subscription, then subscribe. And don't forget to give a like if you like this video. So we're going to pick up next week right where we've left off here, and at least get through the road wheels and the sport rollers and the tracks, and we should get everything on the lower hull taken care of. So yeah, so be looking for that, and that'll be next Friday. So till I see you guys then, you guys stay safe.